This time on Shift with Motor Drift, we don't have any guest. Today, I will be talking about my story with cars, about how I got started and what's been the reason for me to start Motor Drift and my podcast as well. So, it was 2012. I was in the 7th grade and it was lunch break time. So I was having a conversation with one of my best friends at that time, and the topic of discussion was the world's fastest car. So, as expected, I had Googled up the world's fastest car at that time, and it happened to be Thrust SEC. So, mm, me being willing to win the competition, I just said that I would take the Thrust SEC and beat all the cars out there. And my friend comes up to me and says that you can't drive the Thrust SEC on the road. And then I'm like, why the hell can't I drive it on the road? And he's like, it's not road legal. It has got jet engines and stuff that make it only legal for close tracked purposes. So I was like, okay, then what's the fastest car on road which is street legal? He said, it's the Bugatti Veyron. First, I was surprised because I hadn't heard this name ever before. The names we were accustomed to hearing at that time were Ferrari and Lamborghini. That's all we heard ever. And hearing Bugatti for the first time, I um, was quite surprised. So, as usual, being the curious kid I was, I wrote it down the name Bugatti Veyron, googled it up later and found out that it held the record for the world's fastest car, and that it topped out at an astonishing speed of about 408 kmph in 2005. And that was a starting point. It all started with the Veyron, because when I got into the Veyron, it instantly became my favorite, just because of all those engineering feat and all of these things that it had achieved. Because I had never seen a car like that ever before, and from the Veyron, I got involved into cars more and more deeply. I got involved into cars more and more deeply, and another one of the incidents that pushed me that inspired the car guy in me was when I was in the school, and it was the time for the computer period lab. So what happened was that the bell rang, and as we all did, we formed up a line and went to the computer lab, removed our shoes, entered the computer lab, and there was one of the kids was one of my classmates was sitting on a PC, and on the desktop it had the image of a wild looking car. And I asked him, what car is that? It looks so cool. And he's like, it's the Lamborghini Gallardo. Again, I had heard Lamborghini, but never heard about any car named Gallardo. So that again sparked the curiosity in me. And I again wrote it down and later searched it on the internet and found out that it's one of the best cars money can buy, one of the best supercars money can buy, with a naturally aspirated V10 and all. And that was the point where cars like the Lamborghini Gallardo and the Bugatti Veyron started influencing me. So after these two cars, I went all in. Uh, Before these two cars, I was into cars as well. Mm, I s- I used to cut out newspaper. Uh, I used to cut out pictures of cars from newspaper, and I used to print them. And I used to go to cyber cafes and print the pictures of cars. And I used to stick them up in my scratch book, but never did I ever like knew anything about those cars. The only thing I knew about was maybe the model, maybe the brand name, nothing more than that. I didn't knew about the engine. So yeah, it was just a hobby of just collecting the pictures of cars and sticking it up in my scrapbook, and then eventually making a collection out of it. And I used to take that and I used to flex with it in front of my friends by showing them my collection of the pictures that I printed out. That was all. But after getting to know these two cars, it all changed. My car journey changed, to say the least. And in 2014, I stepped into other fields. Like I was anything related to science basically interested me. So I started going into the technologies of defense, defense technologies. I started studying about tanks, jets, fighters, guns, everything. And at that time, my interest in cars was like paused for a moment. There were a few years where my interest was like totally paused. Then I got into bikes, super bikes, liter class bikes. I knew about them A to Z. Basically, whichever field I got into, I made sure that I had to be the expert of it. I was just so enthusiastic about it. And in 2019, when the first year of my college ended, there was a 2 month break since the new year was starting. So, what I did was, after my end semester exams ended, I was just sitting on my laptop and watching car videos. I just thought of doing something different. Just a random thought appeared on my mind. Like it's one of those days when you are just like sitting on your laptop or your computer and you are like just thinking that I don't feel like doing anything. So I just randomly searched something. Like um, I went on and I started seeing that what I can do uh, as a petrol head. Basically, what I can do if I have an interest in cars. So I came to find out that you, as in, if you are interested about something, you can do many things. One of the easiest things is writing blogs. You can basically write an articles about those cars or those bikes, and you can simply publish them on the internet. So I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. And anyways, I was always praised for my writing skills. So I was like, yeah, this is the one I'm going to do, because I was not confident enough to record videos. Now I am. I was not confident enough that time to upload podcast or anything like that. I didn't even knew what a podcast was. So just as an 18-year-old, I just went in and published my first blog. It was on the Suzuki Hayabusa. You can still check it out. The link will be in the description. It was on the Suzuki Hayabusa, and I wrote about 10 to 15 blogs more. And so I published about 10 to 15 blogs. But after that, it seemed like kind of a, it started seeming like a bit of an extra work, because suddenly my interest in bike was diminishing, and suddenly it felt like someone was forcing me to write blogs. So after writing blogs for about 1 to 2 months, I stopped. I stopped. And then um my college resumed. I went on to do some internships here and that and got busy. So I just left the blog the way it was and never looked at it again for about 8 months or 10 months, I guess. Yep, that was the time. So in 2020, I opened my blog again to see how was it performing. Like it was just a random thought to check on, like, well, I started something, let's see how it was and what it is now. So I went on, saw my articles. They had got like single digits. Some of them had got single digits. Some of them had got like 2-digit views. But one of my articles, one of my blogs, which was on the Kawasaki Z900, immediately blew up. It had like 400, it had approximately like 400 unique views. And that surprised me. I was like, well, neither did my website uh, ranked in the Google top searches. Neither it is very pleasing to look at. Like it was just a website made just randomly from the default format. In the default format, I just stick some. I just used some random car pictures here and there, and that was all the website was. And for that article to get 400 views was literally very surprising for me. So it was in the month of March 2020, so a year back. So I looked at all my articles and I was like, and I had gotten that fire again inside of me to to write blogs, but this time it was to do it on a consistent basis. So on April of 7th, I resumed my journey as a blogger. I resumed my journey as a blogger and published uh, my first article after a long break on the Lamborghini Huracan Performante. Then I made it a habit to upload 3 times a week. 3 times a week, I would you I used to write blogs and used to publish them, and it became a habit. And till date, the motordrift.org website has more than about 120 blog. It has more than about 120 blogs, and the journey was good. And I kept publishing blogs for about 2 to 3 months without a break. And I still am publishing. I haven't taken any break because now I'm doing it on a consistent basis and I'm enjoying it. And then in August, I I never really thought of coming on YouTube as a platform because of my fear of making videos and coming on the camera. I had a lot of camera fear, so that thought was out of my mind. The only thing I thought of doing was to write blogs. That's all I thought of doing. I was like, okay, I'm going to write blogs. YouTubing and coming on the camera is not my thing. So leave it. But despite the things that I used to think that, but despite the camera fear, I just went up on, but despite the camera fear, I just went up on the internet, browsed some random car GIFs, used an online editor, and pasted all of them together in one clip of about 30-40 seconds. Added some random background music which sounded cool, which sounded good, rock music, and uploaded it. I didn't even knew how to remove the watermark or anything like that. I didn't had a clue of any editing software, nothing. So I just downloaded that 30-40 second clip and I uploaded it. And that was the first video on the Motordrift channel, which will be written, which will be the channel trailer of this channel. And then, after about a week, I uploaded my first video, which was what the fuck went wrong with the Nissan GTR. The reason I started it, the reason I started writing all of these things and started making videos was that I wanted to bring my view regarding these things on the internet. And I wanted to change the perception of people that cars or bikes are just some machines made out of metal, electric wires, and some plastic scrap. That's not what they are. Um, it's it's a famous Jeremy Clarkson quote, I guess. Yeah, it's a quote that has been said by Jeremy Clarkson that you can really build a relationship with cars. People, non-car people don't get that. So that's what happened, and that's what I aimed. That's what I aim, and still, that's the mission of this channel and this podcast and the blog to spread the love for cars and bikes. So further in the YouTube journey, I discovered about background music, editing software, and I started learning things on a day-to-day basis. My videos gradually, my videos started improving. The quality, the intro, the background music. I started adding these kind of things, and like it really started to gain some traction. And one of my very first videos, which was on the Hero Impulse, was the one which sort of went viral. Sort of. It wasn't like crazy viral, but it has got about 1,600 views till date. So that video of mine got some traction, and my Wazirani Shul video got some traction as well. And about 1 month into the YouTube journey, I also started giving a thought of starting my own podcast. Because I wanted to spread this message regarding cars and bikes and basically the automotive world. I was already doing blogging, so I was already doing it through writing. I started making videos, so I was doing it through videos. But audio was another spectrum which I hadn't explored. And at first, I didn't want to explore that spectrum, but I just went in, and being a fan of the Joe Rogan podcast, I I just recorded an audio or 20-30 second audio, just like Joe Rogan did when he was coming to Spotify. So I did the same. I recorded a 30-second clip, an audio clip of mine where I said that Motor Drift is coming to audio, and I just published it on 24th of August. Then 1 week later, I started publishing daily podcast on a consistent basis for about till the till the end of 2020, September, October, November, December, for 4 months without a break, not a single day of break. And I started publishing daily podcast, 2 3 minute clips, 2 3 minute audio clips, that's all. And at the starting, neither was the audio quality good and neither was my pronunciations. I'm still working on them, but they have improved quite a lot if I go back to them. Mm, Now, on January 9th, I guess I had about 700 plays in total on my podcast. 700 plays. Not a lot, but yeah, it was pretty good. But from that day, the podcast almost blew up. And when I say blew up, I mean like it got crazy. It had like 700 plays on 9th of January. And I just checked it 3 days back. It has like 7,000 plays now. 6 months, 7,000 plays. So yeah, the podcast is doing good. It really is. And our channel is growing as well. And it's because of you all, because you are the ones who decide to take the time out of your lives, to take out the precious times of your lives and give it to watching my videos. So thank you, and thank you for supporting me by watching my videos. And yeah, just know that biggest the only reason I make these videos and these podcasts and these blogs and all, whatever I do regarding these, is just because I am on the mission to really build the biggest car community on the internet. I really do want to build that car community on the internet, and I have been successful to some extent. So, and I would really like, if you are watching this and you are not part of the motor drift community yet, I would really like for you to join the motor drift community so that we could have some really good conversations regarding cars. And the best thing about the motor drift community, which I have personally found, is that each of the person that has been added to the group has so much knowledge to offer, in a respectful way, of course, in a respectful way. They have so much knowledge to offer, and like it's like an online family of ours, basically, the Motordiff community. So join in if you haven't yet. And yeah, that will be all. That will be all. That will be all, I guess. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because there are some big videos that I have planned to bring out on the channel, and there are some big podcasts as well with some special guests, not the ones you are seeing currently, with some special guests that will provide you with an insane amount of value. So yeah, stay tuned. And if you have watched this till the end, thank you. Subscribe to the channel. Till then, ciao.